Okay, welcome guys to another Zen pop-up. So we had a question that was asking how you could actually have automatic emails fly out from a custom form. So I thought this is a really good one. We've covered it a few times in lots of the different workshops, but it's still a really big one. So it's really important that the information gets out there to you and you can actually see that information and implement it if you need to. So this was a question that was thrown at us by Susan and 𝗭𝗂𝗡, and she was asking this question, like, how do you do it? So we can do it with custom forms. Now remember that inside of Zenler you have your contact form, which is a general inquiry form, and you also have things like the registration form and obviously forms to fill out if you're signing up for courses. But you will probably be using a custom form that you create when you're just trying to capture leads. Like a classic example of that would be an opt-in funnel for marketing funnels. But we're looking primarily at how to create a custom form and how to actually get automations to fly out from it. Now it's actually really simple when I explain it to you, because what actually happens is it will use the marketing funnels, but it will use the automation part of the funnel. Now I call this a TEA, so it's a trigger email automation, or a trigger funnel, as I commonly use that word for it. So I'm going to show you how to do it. I've got a nice clean site, so there's nothing on there. This is one that I'm going to be using for Zen pop-ups from now on, because I'm going to be showing you how to design site, how to design courses, like loads of cool things. So I thought, well, let's have a fresh site and start working on that. So I'm going to just screen share. I'll just show you the site first of all so you guys can see, and then it will all be clear. Okay, so we have this little site here, Zen pop-up at newzenler.com. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to create a form on here. I'm not going to, there's no real reason why I'd be doing this if I was creating a site and I wanted to get leads in there. So I'm trying to build a list maybe before I created the site and these kind of things. So what we're going to do is we're just going to create a form inside this in this page. I'm actually just going to do it in a blank page, just so that I'm not touching the site, so I can use it for other tutorials. So let's jump into the site here and let's go to our pages and let's create the first part, which is the form. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to create a form, then we're going to go in and we're going to create the automated emails, and we're going to go back to the form and we're going to just tie the two up. Okay, so it's up to you which order you want to work in as far as this is concerned. So the first thing I'm going to do is just add a page. Now remember, you could put this into pre-existing pages. If you're on the Pro and the Premium plan, you can save these form blocks out, which saves you a lot of time. So I'm going to call it, let's call it Suzanne's form, okay? Because we're doing it for her. So copy, paste that in there, publish the page. We're going to make the page visible for all users, and I'm just going to click add. So nothing hard about that. We're just creating a blank page for us to actually start to design our form in. So once we get the form come up, once we get the page come up, loads in the editor, I'll just be dropping the blocks in. It's really quick to do this. You'll want to spend time on the automation part, but this will give us a blank page. So you can see we've got a blank block in here. Now I'm going to take this right back to the start. You can use this block. I just like to show you every single thing. So I'm going to delete that block out. So I've just got a menu bar at the top and a footer. So I'm going to go into blocks. I'm going to go to empty block, and I'm going to drag the block in. Now we're back to where we were 2 seconds ago. Okay, with that block in there. So the next thing I'm going to do is going to add a row. We're just going to do a basic 1 column row. So we put a row in there. So you can see that's green, blue, green for the rows. And then we're going to add an element, which is red. So inside the elements, we're going to come down to form, and I'm going to just click this form. So we're just not doing anything, crazy here. We're just using the basic things that they've got in there. So the first thing I want to do with any form, especially if it's a name and an email, I want to make sure that's required. So I'm going to click on this first field box, and we're going to just make sure they're required. So I'm going to click on that little gear icon, come across to settings. We're going to make sure that's required in there. Now you can change that if you want to. So you can say, please enter your first name. Okay, and you're going to see it will appear in there. So put a little question mark. And it is a required field. So I'm going to go down to the next one here, and we're just going to put a little thing in here. So enter your email. I'm going to leave that as it is, and we're going to make sure that's required. So what this means that if they don't fill out the first name or the email, because they're both required fields, then the form will not go. So this is a really good thing. Now we also want to make sure that we're telling people that these are required fields. So what I like to do is drop another little element here, and I'll just go into the text, and I'll just tell people. So I just tell people inside here that all fields are required. Okay, so you know, and I'll just go into the gear icon here, scroll down to the bottom, and I'll just align that left, and I'll probably just move that underneath the submit button. So now I know, you know, they know that all fields are required. So we're going to go into the button now, the all important button. We're going to click the gear icon for this, and we're just going to go across and maybe change the style. So I'm just going to change the style and just make it a grey, and we're just going to go up to the settings here, and I'm going to go get on the list. You know, put whatever you like in here. So inside here on styles, you know, you can change this font size. If it's maybe a bit too big, you can change that to something else. Maybe 18 is a little bit better. I always like to go in and just change that padding a little bit. I just think it's a little bit too much with 15 top and bottom with that size type. So I kind of make it a bit smaller. And of course you can round the corners more if you want to as well. You've got down here border corner. I don't want a border on this, so I'm actually going to put it in white. And that's just a simple form. There we go, we've done it. So let's just go and change this background color just to make it a light gray. So inside here I can choose light gray. Also remember, inside here you can actually move this around so you can get exactly the color that you want. So I'm going to make that a light gray, so it looks a nice kind of professional form. I'm going to take this all fields are required and make it a little bit smaller, because generally they are a little bit smaller than this, and I'll probably change it to like an italic, something like that. So let's just click save to that. Now this page is done, this form is done. Now SEO settings, you would fill those out, but I'm not going to cover that in this lesson, so I'm just going to click done for now. Click save. So we have the form now. So we have the basic form. This will actually send out. One thing that you need to make sure, really important on the form button, because I've seen people make this mistake before, is under actions, it should say submit form. Okay. So this is really important. We're going to look at these in a second after I've created the automation, and then lastly we're going to look at this, which I always think is a really important part of forms. And this is basically where I would choose what happens after they click the get on the list button. What happens next? So where do they go? Now some people send people to courses, some people just send them to a thank you page saying thank you, you're on the list now, great. And that's what we're going to do today. But you can basically send them to any place you want to using a link after they've submitted the button. If you don't do that, what will happen is a little green box will come up and say message sent successfully, and that's all it will say, and it won't go anywhere else. So I always like to do a thank you page, which we will do in this because it only takes 2 seconds. But we want to now get onto the automations, the all-important automations. So this is where Susan's probably had a problem, because she's done the form, that's perfect, she can capture the leads, but she wants to follow up. Now you could manually, of course, follow up with email broadcasts, and you could send them out to people, which is cool, but we want to do it automatically. You know, we don't want to micromanage this. We want to be away, we want to be out surfing or something, we want to be, you know, on the beach. We don't want to just hang around writing emails whenever a lead comes in. So we need to automate it. And this is exactly what Suzanne wanted. So this is what we're going to do. We've got the form set up there. We can preview the form, by the way. So click there to preview. You can preview that as admin. You can see the form looks lovely. Let's go on and set the automations up for this. So to use the automations for a form, what we're going to do is we're going to use a funnel, but we're not going to create any of the funnel steps. We're only going to use the automation part of it. So we're going to come into marketing funnels. I'm going to go create a funnel. I'm going quite quick here, so make sure you pause the video if you need to catch up with me. I'm going to choose lead magnet because it's the simplest type of form. We're not using the funnel steps inside the automations. This is the big part of this. Let's click next and choose a name for it. So let's call it TEA and then I'll call it on the list. Just make it sure it's something that you remember. If you start getting, as soon as you start getting over 10 marketing funnels, it starts to become quite a hard thing to know what they are if you don't name them accordingly. So this is really important. I'm not having any freebies. I'm not going to a product at the end of it. This is really simple, guys. We're just putting this on here and we're just clicking next. Okay, so it's going to ask us for a theme template. We're not going to use a theme template, but we've got to select one as part of the marketing funnels. So it really matters not which one we pick. So I'm just going to click finish there. And it's going to take us through to the lead magnet funnel settings. And I'm not even looking at these. I don't care about these. All I'm using it for is the automations. So I'm going to click into automations and we're going to start setting these up. So this is the emails that go out when someone registers that form. So we're going to go in here. We've got some set up already. I'm going to make this really easy and I'm going to delete them all out and just start again. So once it's loaded, I'm going to delete this one out, click it out, delete this one out, click it out, and use this one as a basis for it. So when do we want it to send? So this is the first email, so we might want to call it something. So let's call it welcome. I know that Suzanne wanted to do a welcome, and I like to go from you're in. So again, I'm labeling this. Now they don't see this action name, it just appears in there. So it's easier for you to see what's going on when you go back in here if you've got to alter them. So what happens next? So we've got action, send mail, action name, which appears here, which is easy to follow. Then we've got delay. So when is it going to go? So we've said we could select a date. So you could select a date, but that's kind of impossible with this because we've got an open form. We don't know when they're coming in. It could be after the date and then the email is not going to be relevant. So in this particular case, we're going to have on and we're going to say 0 days from subscription. We could have 0 minutes. We could have 0 hours. They all mean the same thing. It's just 0. So we're putting 0 in there, 0 minutes from subscription. This will fire. Now, if you want to, you could put this at like 1 minute or something, because generally if people hit the form, they'll look in their mail and then maybe that's a minute later and then it'll just pop up. But I'll leave it on 0 for now for the sake of this. Right, from name. So I'm going to call this Zen Pop Up. Okay, so let's call this Zen Pop Up. Now generally, okay, this is important. If you've got a domain like courses.mojomojo.design, I would be calling this from name Mojo Design, and I would be putting in here my professional email address that goes with this email. So this would be courses@mojomojo.design. Okay, so that's what I would put. This is a test site for us to show you how this is working. So that's the only reason I put that. Zen pop-up at zenler.com does not exist. Okay, so it doesn't exist, but it doesn't matter in this case. But for deliverability, you want to make sure that you're using your name and the same domain as your site is. So in my case, courses@mojomojo.design. So I would use courses@mojomojo.design because it's all the same. I wouldn't go in there and put courses@gmail.com or something like that. I try to make sure that it's all under the same umbrella. So if you haven't got a professional email address associated with your custom domain or subdomain, you need to make sure that you get one, because it's just, if you're doing this seriously, this is what you need to do. Don't be using a Gmail address for this stuff. All right, so let's just go and put in here, this is our mail subject. So I'm going to go, welcome to Zen Pop-Up. Okay, so we have some text. If you've not used automations before, definitely read this. I'm going to delete them all out. The thing that we do need is this stuff at the bottom, so don't delete this out. So I'm going to take all of this and I'm going to delete it all out. So there we go. So now I can just design my email. So dear, now in the form we have first name, and if you look, the input type is first name. Okay, it's not email, it's not last name, it's first name. Just like the email in here is also email. So that ties up with the form that you're doing. So when I'm using personalization, it will bring in whatever I tell it to, that's in the form that they've submitted. So in this case, I'm going to put a little space there and I'm going to go personalization, first name. That's the one I click. I don't do this, last name, because nothing will appear. First name, there we go. So whatever they put in there, now that will appear in there. And I can also put that in here as well. So if I go dear, and then I can go space, personalization, first name, and then I can just do a colon and a little space. So now I've got personalization. So if I put in there, if in that form I put David, it would say, Dear David, welcome to Zen Pop-Up. And then underneath in the main copy here, it would say Dear David in there. So I'm going to not do a full email for you. I'm just going to go, welcome to the club. You're in the Zen Pop-Up. Okay, I might just throw in a few emojis. Why not? Who doesn't like emojis? And let's just go and grab an emoji from Get an Emoji. Let's go and grab a heart one there. Jump back in here. I'll just put a little heart in there. And I'll do the same here. So what I like to do is it in the address because it really pops out, then people see it. So, and that's all I'm going to put from the team. Okay, all right. So this is going to fire out when they fill the form out, and that's what's going to happen. Now I need to make this live. It's also worth testing it as well. By the way, guys, you can put your email address in there and you can send a test. You can look in your email client and make sure that it popped up. So if you put any links in here, make sure that you check it before you're sending any of this stuff out. Remember, test. So you can also preview it here. So you're looking how it looks in there. Quick preview of it. So that is the one email that we sent out. Now we can send more out. So the first thing I'm going to do is click save. It's going to say this action is currently paused. Do you want to make it live? If you look, it says pause here. So obviously we do. So we're going to click yes. Now, if you've already got people in this funnel, and we haven't because we just created it, and you want this email to be applicable to them, you would go yes, apply to existing leads. Now, because we've got no one in there, we can click either of these. Now, if I don't want this email to be applicable to people that are already in this funnel, I would click no. So that's all it means. So it doesn't matter which one I pick because I've got nobody in here. So I'm just going to click yes and let that load. And now you're going to see this has gone green. It means it's live. Now, if we want to set up another email, you can do two things. One, you can clone this. And the other one is you can go in here and you can click send mail and it will create another blank email. So you can also do things like add a tag, remove a tag, send a webhook, notify admin. So if you want to be notified of an email that's coming, that someone's done a lead, you can do a notify email in there as well. So I'm going to clone this because I'm going to have one come out 1 minute later. Now I'm pretty assuming that you would probably do it the next day or in a week's time just to follow up, maybe tell people about extra courses. So let's just say 1 week later we would have another email go out. So what I do is I like to set up the first email like this, get my format because I might have logos in there and those sort of things. And instead of going like to send mail here, I prefer to clone it because then it keeps all of that formatting and I don't have to redo it all. It's a massive time saver. So we include that. So I'm going to click there. It's going to go clone and I'm going to go and I'm just going to say follow up 1 week. Again, it's nice and clear. So I'm going to click clone and now I've got it here. So what I'm going to do now is from subscription, I'm going to choose weeks and I'm going to choose 1. So 1 week later, after they subscribe, or opt into that form, it will send this email out. So let's put, are you interested in my new courses? So something like that. And then I can go new courses available, check them out. And then I could put a link. So I could put in here new courses and here. And then I could link it to my page. So if I had my web page and I had courses on this page, I could just grab this link And then I could go in here, select the text, go to the little link icon, insert link, and just copy that in there and click insert. Now I've got a link in there. So I can test that by going to preview, go to preview, click in there. Perfect, opens up in the right window. Exactly what we want. Also run a test out there as well. It's definitely worth doing that. So there we go. Now we've got 2. So I'm going to make this live. So instead of saving it to make live, I can also click up there. But let's just click save. Currently, I'm going to, doesn't matter, apply to leads. And that's done. So now I've got one email that's going to go out straight away, and I've got one that's coming out in a week's time. Now, what I like to do is I like to test these emails are working. So this is going to be the next phase. You've got to remember to come back in here and put the delay back to what it was 1 week. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it for 1 minute. Okay, and I'm going to save it. I don't want to wait a week to test my emails. You know, I want to be testing it now. So I've put that to 1 minute. So this will go out straight away, this original one. And the follow-up email will come in 1 minute after. When I've looked at it and I've tested it's all working, what I'll do then is I'll jump back into the automations and I'll set this back to a week so that it's done, and then I'll save it. So now we have our funnel set up. Now if I go to marketing funnels, you're going to see that this is in here. Here it is. It's got a little preview. We're not using that. We're just using the automations. So now we're going to jump back into the form, and I might need to refresh the page to do this. So let's just refresh the page so my funnel shows up, and I'm going to connect it to that funnel. So what will happen then is someone will fill out first name, email, they will hit the submit button, and then it will add them to the funnel, and the funnel has the automations in it, and it's that simple. So let me go here, click the gear icon, go into settings, come down to add to funnel, and look, T on the list. Check it. Now this form action button will subscribe them into the T on the list funnel, which has automations in it. It's easy. So I bet you thought, oh, this is going to be complicated, but it's actually really easy. You're just using the funnels as a way to send the automations out. So this is in a custom form. So we can check this. One last thing I'd like to do is just to show you to go on to a thank you page. So I'm actually going to test this first, and then I'm going to show you how you can set up a post action thank you page. So let's test it all works. So what I do, this is testing phase now. We've done our emails and we're now going to test. So I'm going to jump into the page. Let me just go to the page. So there's the page there. I'm going to jump back to my site, and I'm going to jump back to pages. Let me close all these pages down because this is testing phase. All right, so we've got our form. I'm going to take this URL, copy it. Okay. I'm not checking it inside of here because I'm logged in. I'm going to go into, I'm using the Chrome browser. I'm going to go to my 3 little dots, go to incognito mode or private mode if you're using a different browser. Control V to paste it in there, click enter, and here's my form. So now I'm going to fill my form out. So nice and easy. I've got Tracy in the house. Yeah, I've got Shrimaya. Sorry, I'm probably pronouncing that Sirimaya. Probably pronouncing that really wrong, badly. Sorry. Right, so we're here. We're on here. So what I want to do now is I want to fill out my email. So let me just do this now. I'll just do it off screen. All right, and reshare now. I have to be careful when I'm doing emails because other emails can pop up in there, and then obviously that's not a good thing. So there we go. So I just set an email up there, test user, and then david@zenler.com. So I'm on here. So let's hit get on the list. Click. Look down here. Success. So that's all that happens. The success. That's all that happens. So you know what's going on now. So this is why I like to do the thank you page, because after it's been clicked, you go through to a nice thank you page. But let's have a look at what's happened in the system, and let's also check our emails, because by filling out this first name and email, get on the list, it's automatically put me into that funnel which has the automations in it. So in theory, I should be getting an email straight away saying welcome to Zen pop-up. So let's go and check my emails. I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to refresh this. Ah, there we go. Dear test user, welcome to Zen pop-up. Now remember, the other email is going to go 1 minute later. So we need to wait a minute before we get the other email. So, oh, there it is. It's appeared there. So after a minute, we look at the timestamp. You can see that's 26 and you can see that's 25. So I've got the welcome and then I've got the new one. So 1 minute later that popped in. So it works. So let's have a look at the emails. Yep, beautiful. That looks good. And let's have a look at this one. Yep, and it's got the link in there. Let me click that. Bang, I'm through. I'm through to the site. So that was my test. So that all works. So I need to, first thing I need to do is go to my marketing funnels. I know the automations work now. So I want to come into my automations. I do this before anything else. It's really easy, guys, to forget to do this on the testing phase. I want to go in to my 1 week later email and change it from a minute back to a week. Otherwise, it's going to go to everybody that signs up for this after 1 minute. So let's click that. And there we go. So that's back to a week. So I've got that. That's all sorted. Right, now to make it look even better, I want to make sure that I'm going to a thank you page afterwards. Just before I do that, I want to show you what happens in the site when I registered as a user. So let's go to site here. Let's go into leads and you're going to see here that I'm added. There I am. So I've been added as a lead inside there because I filled that form out. So what I want to do now is give a nicer experience for the user. So when they come into that form, they actually see a thank you page. So I'm going to go to pages. I'm going to go to, some people create generic thank you pages. I tend to do it per form. So we've got the form there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a nice thank you page to go with this. So I'm going to add a new page. I'm going to go in now. I'm going to do this really quick, guys. So thank you. So I'm speeding through this. It's just a page. It's going to have thank you in it. Nothing special going on here. And then I'm going to make sure that this URL is in the post submit action of the button. So where it's going to go next after they hit submit. So I'm going to come in here. That's loaded. You can make this look as beautiful as you like, guys. I'm going to go into headings, heading 1. Going to come in there. Whoop. You're in the club. Okay, so let's just give it a nice background. I can't help myself. That's good. Now I'll make it bigger as well. Okay, so let me save that. Okay, done. Right, so I've got this now. This is the thank you page that's going to fire. So I can close that window down. Hold on, just need to make sure I save it. Close this down. And there's my thank you URL. I'm going to grab that, copy it. Okay, so I'm grabbing that and copying it. I'm going to jump back into the form, hit the edit for the form. Now post submit action this time, I'm going to make sure it's going to that page. So when someone hits the button, it will redirect them to the new thank you page. And this will give a much nicer experience for the user. All right, okay, so in here, in settings, down to settings here, and where we've got post submit action, go to link and paste in my thank you page link, click save. So now we've done it, we've done the full thing. We've done the form, we've done the email using marketing funnels, and we've tied up the button on the submit form to the marketing funnel with emails only. We've also created a new thank you page, and we've tied that to the button as well as a post submit action. So let's now do a final test of this. I'm going to jump into the page. Just here, I'm going to have to refresh this just to clear it. So we're going to try it again. And let me put +1 and let me pop up new. So what's going to happen now, I know the automations work, I just ran a test. So what I want to do now is I just want to make sure that thank you page is working. So I'm going to click get on the list, and instead of a little green success come up at the bottom, I will be sent to that thank you page we just created magically. So I'm going to click this and bang, there we go. And that is the whole cycle. So that is it. That's how you can do this stuff. Really easy. Hopefully this has been of massive benefit to you. Going to be popping up all over the place with lots of these kind of help things. They're also going on, just as a little note to you, going on our YouTube channel. The playlist has been created. If you go to youtube.com/Zenler, you're going to see inside there we have a new playlist, and it's down here. So it will be popping up in there. We did one the other day, yesterday or the day before, creating a pre-sign up for upcoming courses or memberships, which was actually just using a form, just exactly what we've done here. So we kind of done 2 form things, but you know, capturing leads and these sort of things is a really big part of your business. So knowing it inside out, knowing how to send automations from any forms that you have at the site is really important for you guys. So I don't mind repeating this stuff because it is so valuable to you, and that is how we do it. So guys, that's another Zen pop-up from me today. So over and out. I might be popping up later because there's a few other videos I want to get up for you guys to see as soon as you can. If you didn't know, also we have a new challenge going on which Mami is running, and it's a 3-day lead to client challenge. So check that out. You're going to see posts on the Facebook group. I think it's 9 days to go, 8 days to go. Click that link, go through there, and you can take part in that as well. So that's a Zen pop-up. I'm going to end for now, and I will see you very soon.